In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm overexcited apparently.
Yes.
And this is Joe.
Raised eyebrows.
They're shot up into his hair and beyond.
Like Penfold.
Like Penfold.
Free floating above my head.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm all right.
Good.
How are you?
I'm really hungry.
I'm really hungry. Should we make this a quick one?
Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, should we?
5 minutes. Let's go.
Okay, right. We have beer. Cheers.
Hurrah.
Moretti. Today we are going to be talking about all kinds of things. See, if we try and do it quickly, I'm just going to ramble really fast, and then
Rambling fast and nobody will
Drunken
understand.
chipmunks.
Right.
Back on drunken chipmunks.
People already speed us up to get through it faster.
I know. Hi, Ollie.
Hi, Ollie.
So, yeah, Womble. There's actual Wombles on Wimbledon Common.
Actual photograph.
If you are not British, you probably won't have a fucking clue what we're talking about. Google Wombles.
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 Yes, well done.
Wombles.
Yeah, so because I ran a half marathon on Saturday morning.
I sat in the grass and read a book.
Yeah, but you cheered me on and you took pictures of me with the Womble.
I did.
And if you've been reading my daily emails, you will have seen a picture of me with the Womble, and then you will have seen my amazing Womble bling, which I'm looking at right now because it's hanging on the wall.
It's the only reason you run.
With that's Uncle Bulgaria, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So, yeah, it's the only reason I run, actually. Because if somebody doesn't provide me with amazing bling at the end of a really long run, I don't really see why I should bother.
Indeed.
So, but the thing is, this is actually relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. Because I have been...
Segue alert.
No, it's true.
Okay.
Because I have been trained... I trained for my half marathons, don't I?
Yeah. Kinda.
I do, dear listener. I do train for my half marathons. In this case, I didn't do quite as well with my training as I sometimes do because I only got up to 9 miles 2 weeks ago. But I do run at least twice a week, occasionally a third time if I can be asked. But this time I had only got up to 9 miles, and then last week I didn't feel great. I didn't feel ill or anything. I wasn't feeling the running, so I only did 5 miles, and also I got lost, which doesn't help. That's the second time in 2 weeks I got lost.
Yeah, we haven't lived here long.
No,
it's fine.
But yeah, the listeners don't need to know that I get lost quite a lot, do they? So yeah, and I'd been training, but not particularly well, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do, was I? I was a little bit worried about it, and also we had a deadline.
Yes. Oh man, we're like a 15-minute taxi ride away from our hotel where we were staying, and we had to check out by 1 o'clock on pain of being charged another night, and it was not a cheap hotel. No,
it was not.
So we really didn't want Vicky. I really did not want Vicky to cross London on the tube after having done a half marathon. Although sometimes it smells like many people have done exactly that. And then the whole journey home in the car.
Oh my God!
Oh man, can you imagine? It'd be gross. So we really needed to get back to the hotel.
You can't see my face right now. It's properly outraged.
So started running at 10 o'clock. Aiming for quarter to 10. Aiming for something like 2 hours.
No, I was aiming for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Then had to get a taxi across London. Then had to have a shower. Then had to leave the room all by 1 o'clock.
It wasn't across London. It was from one side of Wimbledon Common to the other.
Oh, it's a long way around.
It is the long way around, but I didn't really fancy jogging 2 miles after having just jogged 13.2 miles.
Anyway, long story short, we managed it.
Yes, because...
Seconds to spare.
With seconds to spare. And we managed it because I was like, I would have been happy running under 2 hours, 15 minutes because I hadn't got up to where I wanted to be with my training.
Mm-hmm.
And my actual final time was 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Which is pretty good.
And I was really pleased with that because I have run a sub 2 hour half marathon before, many, many years ago. And And so that's kind of, I'd quite like to run a sub 1 hour 50 half marathon at some point. But yeah, this one was really good because the first 2 miles is always horrific, and I always wish that I'd not done this, and I always think I'm going to die because that's the amount of time it takes for my body to realise that actually I'm being serious and I'm going to make it run.
You're not going to be put off by this unpleasantness.
Yeah. And I'd kind of attached myself to this group of runners who were from the Kent Sports Trust, I believe. Anyway, they were running just a little bit faster than I thought I would be comfortable running, their pace. Mm-hmm. And they were chatting away and talking, and I was kind of listening to them, and they were my pacers. And I was actually managing to keep up with them, and I was quite chuffed. I was also managing to drink water whilst running without dying.
That's a new thing.
It is a new thing, because, before...
Normally it just comes out your ears or something.
Yes, it does. It's really bad, and I've actually thrown up before because I was incapable of drinking and running at the same time. But yeah, anyway, these guys, they stopped their run. Well, they didn't stop. They kind of just... They stopped. They started walking. And I was like, dudes, what are you doing? You're my pacers. And they were, and they just were like, you go on. We'll catch you up and you could be our pacer. And I was like, what the fuck? And I actually managed to pick up the pace from there. And nice. I felt really good the whole way around.
Yeah.
So I was really chuffed. Anyway, the whole point of telling you this story...
Oh, we've been around the houses on this one.
Yeah, but no, the whole point of telling you this story is that I set this goal.
Ah, okay.
Of 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then I smashed it.
Cool.
By a good 7 minutes. I had to roll my eyes and work that out in there.
Yeah, I could see the cogs.
So yeah, Joe, what's your big life goal?
That's a really unfair question.
You've just been quite mean to me.
I saw that in your notes, and I thought, oh, balls, here it comes. But yeah. I have no idea.
Well,
I have no idea. I'd like to work a bit less. I'd like to work a bit more locally, and I'd like to, I don't know.
And therein lies the problem. And I've asked you that really mean question quite deliberately because
you're mean.
Partly because I'm mean, but also because I think people, and this goes for me as well, we fall into this trap that we think that really successful people have these big life goals.
Right, because some of them do.
Yeah, and some of them do. Because you look at people like Bill Gates, and his big life goal now is to rid the world of malaria, which is awesome, and I totally hope he does it.
But a few years ago, he was famous for saying he wanted a personal computer in every household.
Yes, and that was his big life goal then.
That was a big goal.
And he did it, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you've got someone like Richard Branson, and I'm not sure what his big life goal was before, but now he's got the Virgin Foundation, and he's doing all kinds of amazing stuff with like the world leader ambassador people, and with education and with environmental stuff. And and you see sports people as well who say, Muhammad Ali is a good example. I always knew I was going to be the greatest, and he said it when he was like 6 years old. And we look at people like that and we think, well, if I'm going to ever be successful, whatever success means to you, I need to have this great big life goal. And actually, I think that's really misleading, and it's quite damaging to people who don't have these massive life goals, because we feel quite inadequate about it. And we don't see all of the many, many people who said, I'm going to do this by the age of blah, and then don't achieve it, because by definition, we don't see them. So, the people that we do see, like Muhammad Ali and Bill Gates, are massively the exception to the rule.
He was Cassius Clay when he was 6, by the way.
Yes, I know, but, thank you for that.
That's my only boxing knowledge.
Oh, yeah, mine too. But he was a really interesting man, aside from the boxing.
He was a good guy.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I wanted to ask you that question, because I think that actually most people are like you and me, because... you could ask me the same question. What's my big life goal? I haven't got a fucking clue. I've got no idea. I wanted to buy us our dream home.
A ramshackle old cottage in the countryside.
Yeah, with a bit of land. And we've done that.
That's pretty cool.
And so the next thing is going to be to make it into a beautiful home rather than an interesting, quirky home. And it will keep all the quirkiness, but will also be beautiful.
Waterproof.
Waterproof, yes. Which it mostly is. But what else do I want to do? I don't know. I don't know what I want my big life goal to be. I want to travel more. I want to see more of the world. I want to meet more interesting people. And everybody's interesting when you get talking to them.
Okay.
But I would like to do that there's so much of the world to see. I would like to do something meaningful with my life as well. But I don't know exactly what. And so you kind of start asking yourself, well, what do I really care about and what gets me fired up? Science literacy. I hate this trend towards willful ignorance that we're seeing.
Yeah, celebration of dumb.
Yeah, and this backward steps from people seeming to not trust science anymore and thinking that science is this doctrine. And actually, science is just a system of observation and measurement and saying, I don't know, rather than having all the answers. So that I'm very passionate about. And education for all, education for everybody. And inspiring a love for education and reading. Books. I love books. Animals and the environment. Elephants. I love elephants. And I would like to see, elephants trampling on poachers. Actually, I wouldn't like to see that. That would be gross. But, that kind of thing. And so that, it's got me thinking, what do I want to do with my life? And what do you care about? He's just given me the most evil look you have ever seen. We're totally going to have to do a video podcast at some point so that you can see the dirty looks that Joe goes through when asking these questions.
We've had this discussion before, and it's basically
goldfish.
All goldfish in here.
You see, I say to Joe,
whenever I'm not actively saying something, it's just goldfish.
That's not true, though,
it's
is
just
it?
nothing happening.
I don't think that's true. You care about stuff, though.
Well, yeah, but you have all the passion and the...
That's not true.
And I have all the,
what do you
sensible
mean?
reasons why we should just, have some baked potatoes and calm down.
You see, that's Joe's backhanded way of saying that I'm a lunatic, which is not entirely untrue. So anyway, but the thing is, that's kind of illustrated the difficulty that a lot of people have. So I can mention 60 things that I really care about, and maybe 6 things that I would shift heaven and earth to do something about. But that's not one thing. That's not one overriding thing that's driving me towards a goal.
No.
And that's the same for my business as well, because, how much of an existential crisis have I been having for the last few weeks about my business and what I'm doing? And it's been...
You have been having a good old think.
It's been quite tough, actually. I've been genuinely struggling and feeling like... That was my stomach, by the way, if anyone heard that. It's waiting for potatoes. At the moment, that's my life goal.
Potatoes.
Potatoes. But yeah, getting all kind of serious for a minute. I've had quite a tough few weeks with the kind of thinking. Joe's looking really uncomfortable now because it's getting all emotional. But yeah, I have been, it's difficult when you don't have this big life goal. And it's like I was thinking about your niece the other day, Jenny, who has known what she wanted to... I don't know if she listens, but hi, Jen. But she's had her...
She's known exactly what she's doing from a long, long time ago.
Yeah, and I think that's a marvellous thing, and I'm slightly envious of it. But I think that she's the exception.
Yeah, I think most people are, the goals are paying the bills and getting the kids through school and making their house waterproof.
yes, which is also one of our goals. But yeah, and I think that actually, I think that most people are actually river people. That's what Earl Nightingale calls us. Earl Nightingale's like a famous kind of businessy marketing dude in America, and he's responsible for loads of kind of business learnings and information products and stuff like that. And he's probably one of the original gurus before the word guru became wanky. But he calls us river people. So you have these huge goal-driven people, and then you have river people. And the idea is that we have kind of smaller goals that we reach, and they're like islands in the river of our lives.
Right.
And I think that's much more... It certainly suits me better.
Rather than having some mountain on the horizon that they've always been pointed at.
Yeah. And that's not to say that you can't become a great big goal-driven person later in life, or that someone might reach their massive goal and then become a river person. But... Because, maybe Bill Gates is like this kind of... Rather than being just a river person, maybe he's like the world's biggest river person, where his river is like the Milky Way galaxy and his islands are suns. Shall I stop now?
Yeah, that was
tortured metaphor.
That was really tortured. Should have thought about that before you said it.
Well, it sounded better in my head before I said it out loud. So yeah, And I wanted to talk a little bit about goals in this episode, really, because I think that there's a misconception going around that if you are going to be successful, you need to have your entire business and life mapped out for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And I don't think that's realistic for a lot of people. I think you should have an idea where you're going. And I like the idea of a life lived with purpose rather than just drifting, because at the moment I feel like I'm kind of drifting. Not in terms of what we're doing with the house and, that kind of thing, but I feel like I want to be working towards something.
Well, maybe that's just a symptom of having reached one of the islands.
Maybe
one of the islands was buy the house and the bit of land and move in and make it habitable, and we've just done that. So maybe you're just looking downriver and wondering what comes next.
Yeah, but I think it makes it difficult to make progress if you don't have some kind of an idea of where you want to go next, because otherwise you're just drifting.
Yeah.
So I read this book. Well, I listened to the audiobook version of a book called Living Forward, which I reviewed for my Inner Circle guys a month or so ago. And they have this thing where the very first question they ask you, they work with people who kind of don't really know where they're going, and they're kind of just living they're not living a pointless life, but just drifting through life, and nothing happens on purpose. And they kind of point out that actually you only get one shot at this. And wouldn't it be much better to live a life filled with purpose? Even if the purpose changes, rather than to kind of just drift through, bouncing off, this thing and then that thing, which I'm quite guilty of because I find everything really interesting. And so I try and learn about everything, and then I get distracted by a butterfly, and then cheese turns up, and it's just I'm lost.
Yeah.
So I was kind of listening to this book and thinking, actually, I really like this idea. And one of the first questions I ask you, which is a real toughie, is what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? And I thought, goodness, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's quite a big question. I mean, you can kind of be really bland and say, I want them to say she was a really nice person. Actually, you know what? I don't want people to say I was nice, because nice is horrible. Nice is an insult.
Yeah, nice is I can't think of anything sensible to say, so I'm just going to go.
And nice also means you haven't had any impact on anybody, really. Mm-hmm. Because women particularly suffer really badly with wanting to be liked by everybody. More than men, I think. Would you say that's true?
Probably, yes.
I mean, we all want to be liked and accepted, but I think I certainly struggle when I think that somebody doesn't like me. And, when I know somebody doesn't like me, I find that very, very hard. And I go over and over and over it. And I drive myself insane, and then I drive Joe insane. Yeah. And so I think that it's you kind of don't want to be described as nice, and you need to be courageous enough to have something that you care about enough so that you step out, and you're going to step on a few toes, and you're going to piss some people off.
Well, achieving stuff annoys people, doesn't it? I think it's difficult for some people to...
Well, no, not even that, because actually I think, yes, there are people out there who don't like other people's success, but I think more than that, I think that if you stand for something, then you're always going to annoy people who either disagree with you or who stand for something completely different. It's not about, if you're not with me, you're against me, that kind of black or white nonsense, but it's more about if you really believe in something and you're willing to stand up for it and talk about it, and talk about the things that people aren't happy to talk about because they're too scared that somebody might yell at them.
Yeah.
And I try to do that in my marketing and my business and my life. And I've lost friends over stuff like that. And, I've probably missed out on friendships that I could have had because I am what?
Because you've had an opinion. Because you pushed for something.
Yeah. And that's not the same as kind of being unwilling to change your opinion, because I'm always happy to be proved wrong. But it is difficult to be wrong. Everybody finds it a little bit difficult. But anyway, yeah, so that kind of, I don't know, just got me thinking, what do I want? What do I want to be true of my life when I shuffle off this mortal coil? What do I want to leave behind? What do I want people to say about me when I'm dead? Apart from thank fuck for that. I hope nobody says that. That would be awful, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah.
It would.
I don't think I'm that horrible. But yeah, so that I just wanted to talk about goals a bit today, really.
Okay.
So Joe, what's your big goal?
Oh God. God. I have no idea. I really should spend time reading the notes.
No.
I don't really have much in the way of goals at the moment.
That's reasonable.
I'm pretty comfortable, and business is going okay, and everything's kind of all right.
Plus, it's kind of all
But
right.
it's a bit all right. Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's a bit rubbish.
Okay, if money was no object, if there were no barriers in the world at all, what would you do?
Spend a lot of time up mountains and on motorbikes and, like I say, going places.
Going places.
Going places and meeting people.
Maybe we should do that.
Maybe we should.
Stuff all this. Let's throw it all in the air and go.
Jack it all in and just bugger off.
Because I could do this from anywhere.
Yeah. I might have to work for you.
That'd be all right. You could be a cat man.
Yeah, that'd be all right. I'd work. I could, tidy up your bloody desk a bit, for starters. It's got to be worth something.
It was tidy before you piled all the stuff on it that was hidden elsewhere.
It was on the chair that I needed to sit on. Yeah. Okay, anyway, back at the ranch.
Yeah, back at the ranch. So I am going to be spending some time over the next few weeks thinking really carefully about what it is that I want out of life and out of my business, which is going to involve some changes for you guys, dear listeners, because I think some things are going to change. We're going to carry on with the podcast because I love doing it.
It is pretty cool.
But there's some of the stuff that I've got in the pipeline, and I've been particularly bothered the last few weeks and increasingly bothered by all of the Me Too kind of marketing that goes on. And I've been guilty of that in the past, because when you find somebody that you admire, it's very difficult you find yourself unconsciously copying them. Not copying them, but because...
Going down the same road they've gone down.
Yeah, because when you admire somebody, that's what you do. So you have to be really conscious about not doing that. And that's something that I've been struggling with. So I've been finding my voice and what I care about over the past few weeks, and I'm kind of trying to take that and move it in the direction that I want to go in, which isn't the kind of online marketing funnels and the, constant stream of crushing it wankers and 10 times this and 100, and one of the things that I've done recently, implemented, is this borrow my brain thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really nervous about it because it's a new thing. And then I had my first call this morning.
Cool.
With, I don't know if I should mention his name, actually. He hasn't said that I can, so I'm not going to. But we had our first call this morning. It was really good fun. I really enjoyed it. Cool. And I think he got value out of it. I got value out of it, which is just as important, by the way, because if you're teaching, and Sean D'Souza always says this, and it's so important, if you're not learning something from the stuff that you're teaching people, then you shouldn't do it anymore, because it should be a two-way thing. You should learn from the people that you teach as well, and learn from what you're doing. And I really enjoyed this thing this morning, and it made me realise that actually I really enjoy working one-on-one with people in that kind of capacity. And
That's cool.
I'm good at coming up with ideas that other people might not necessarily come up with. And so that's one of the things I'm going to make a bit more of. And on that note, it's kind of 22 minutes. I'm really hungry and I want my potatoes. And I've got a beer to drink. And yeah, long term, watch this space.
Okay, so new things in the pipeline.
Short term, watch this space as well. Because one of the really exciting things that I'm doing is this event that I've got planned. And it's all booked and the venue's booked. And I'm actually really excited about it because it's going to be unlike most other events out there, I think.
Cool.
It's not going to be talking heads and on a stage yapping at people. It's not going to be a boot camp, because there's a lot of those around. It's going to be
your thing.
My thing. And people are going to go away from it with something tangible that they've learned, a skill. And I'm really excited about it.
Cool.
So that's going to be in November. And you are going to get an invitation if you're on my email list. My inner circle members get first dibs because they are my peeps. And people in the Business for Superheroes Club who've got my book, they'll get an invitation soon.
Cool.
So if you want to be in on this before anybody else, get a copy of my book. Or borrow my brain.
Borrow your brain.
Borrow my brain, which is businessforsuperheroes.com/borrow-my-brain. I really enjoyed it. Why are you laughing?
I like the borrow my brain.
Do you?
It's good. I like it.
I like it too.
It's catchy.
It is catchy. So yeah, there you go. Thank you for listening. That was quite a rambly one, but I think it was an important thing to talk about.
Yeah. So what are the takeaways? You need to think about, what do you want? What do you want? Why are you doing this?
What do you want to be true of your life when you shuffle off this mortal coil? What do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to say about you at your funeral? It doesn't have to be this big goal that you're working towards, like curing cancer or curing malaria. But what would you like to be true of yourself and your life when you cark it, basically?
That's a reasonable question to ask.
Yeah, because I think that will help you direct your life in a direction that you want to go. Even if you're going from goal to goal to goal in the river of your life, rather than the one big goal of, being the best at whatever it is. I think that's a good thing to do.
Crack on. Answers to the usual address.
Yeah, if you want to write this stuff down and tell me, I would love to hear about it as well. So email Vicky at vickyfraser.com. I would love to hear about them because it might help me think of what I want to do with my life. So,
right. Thanks
very much. Thanks, Joe.
No worries. Thanks, Vix.
We'll see you next week. Same time.
Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.